Hey all, there are two concerns that you should keep in mind when you use LLMs. The very first one is bias. The second one is how they collect our data. This is applicable irrespective of whether it is open source model or closed source model. Let's talk about the first concern. First concern is bias. What sort of bias they would have introduced in their model? We have no access to that. Probably we should go by the brand of the company who's introducing this model. That can give us some confidence, but otherwise we have no control to that. The second one is collecting the data. How they collect our data, maybe through feedback loop, or they can execute an API behind the scenes when we are making a call. So that data can go to your remote server and stuff like that. Now, the second one can be contained to an extent by the deployment model or the hosting model that we prefer to. Let's talk about the hosting model. There are three different options that we have to consume these services, right? The very first one is accessing the model over the web. This is like how you access ChatGPT or DeepSeek is hosted by the company itself and the enterprise itself, and you can access these models over the browser. This is option one. Of course, you have to abide to the terms and condition, and you have no clue of what sort of feedback loop is running on and what sort of data is getting collected from you. You have no control to it. The second one is the models that are getting hosted by the hosting providers. Today, all the platform service providers are hosting these models, whether it is Amazon Bedrock or Azure AI Studio or Google Cloud AI Studio. Most of the popular models are being hosted by these companies. This is a second option. The third option is taking the model and hosting it in our trustable own environment, and that is the third option. I think the third option has to be straight away rolled out for any production grade application. The reason why, to host these models, a full-fledged model, you need a huge computing power. Most of the times we may not have it. So if at all you are taking a smaller version of these models, probably that is helpful just to play around and to get a feel of how the model works. But otherwise it won't give you enough of accuracy because of the lack of training data. So the third one is straight away rolled out for the production grade application. The first one, where we have a little bit of concern, right? It is hosted by the company itself, not sure what sort of data is being collected and what sort of remote API calls are being made behind the scenes. That is the concern in the first option that we spoke. The second option is provided by the platform service provider like AWS, GCP, and Azure and others. This one is relatively safer in the given context because it is hosted by these providers, and to an extent they give some sort of assurance that our data is not being shared with other enterprises or outside of the hosted environment. So with that note, I think the second option is relatively safer, and keep this in mind when you're accessing LLMs and happy developing AI applications for your production need.